Hello everybody and welcome to another episode on my channel. I am the Sour Sailor and today we're going to start our new series called World Flights, where we take flights in Microsoft Flight Simulator from capital city to capital city. So the premise of this is we're going to fly from one capital in one country to the next capital in the next country. Flights usually looking for around about an hour to an hour and a half. Flights that are smaller in length, we're not going to take the A320. We're actually going to go in a GA plane. For example, if we were going to fly from Caribbean island to Caribbean island, there's no point, depending on how far it is. So today's flight, we're going to start off with something very, very simple. We're going to fly from my home country of the United Kingdom, and we're going to start in Heathrow, London, and we're going to fly to Charles de Gaulle in Paris. A nice hour flight, very close, very easy. Something to start us off with, something to show off the beautiful simulator and the wonderful A320NX mod. So, at the moment, we are currently sitting on one of the stands near Taxiway C. I think it's Terminal 5, actually. I think we might be even on. And we're going to take our lovely plane and we're going to get it ready to go and get it taxiing off to the runway, which today we're going to take off from runway number, I believe, number 9. Just double check. Number 9, yes, 9 left. We're going to be taking off from. So we're going to be taking off to from our west to the east. So it should be quite an interesting one. There's quite a lot of weather going on at the moment around where, especially where I live. I live about 100 miles from London, and there's a massive block of weather that is going east from Heathrow all the way out to the North Sea. So it should be quite an interesting takeoff. Hopefully into some rain. Should be quite interesting. And I think it's pretty quiet down in Paris. So let's get into the sim. Let's get going. And we'll walk through all the flight and how we'll set the plane up as well. So if you haven't ever seen how to set the plane up in Microsoft Flight Simulator, watch this. It's not obviously 100%, but it is pretty close to it. So let's go for it. So here we are. So I've started up looking at the top console. Very simply, all I've done is I've turned the batteries on and the external power. So we've got some power running into the plane. From the screen, I'm going to activate the ADIRS. Let's get rid of the pushback. I'm going to activate the ADIRS. So if you can't see this over here in the corner, we have the ADIRS panel here. That controls all the flight simulator, not flight simulator, all the FMS of the plane, so the computer. So we're going to take them to nav so that the computer now knows where we are. Then we're going to hit 8 again to make ourselves in the right position. The crew supply on so that the crew has some oxygen. Not vital in the simulator, but if you're going to do it in real life, try to keep it as realistic as possible. We'd hit the crew supply. So we're going to work in a flow. So we're going to work like this across. So that's everything on the left. In the middle, the only things we need to turn on here are the fuel pumps. But we don't need to do that till we fuel the plane. External power is on. APU lead is off for now. And all the anti-ice and heating is off for now as well. Lights, we need to turn the strobes on. Beacons stay off, wings stay off, nav lights come on. Runway turn offs, landing lights and nose lights all stay off. APU stays off for now. We turn on the integrated lighting. Integrated, that's the word. Seatbelt signs and smoking goes on. And emergency exit lights are armed. And finally on the right hand side of the panel is all the fire test stuff, which in the real life you would do some testing, but we're not going to do that today. So that's that for top panel for now. We'll head down to the console in the middle and we'll lock the cockpit doors. Again, it's another feature that isn't necessary, but to keep the immersion is quite interesting. And then we're going to hit the predicted wind shear button to auto, so I don't forget, because it will just moan at me until I do it. We're going to turn the panel lighting and integrated lighting up. And then with the transponder, we're not going to be online, but I'm going to set it to 2000. So in the UK, 2000 is the basic VR code. I believe in America it's a completely different code. So beware of that. And then we're going to head up a bit further to our middle panels. So our PFD, so we're going to turn up a little bit. Our ND, we're going to turn up a little bit. And then we're going to go straight across to the first officer panel. And we're actually going to turn these off. I'm only doing this purely because I think it saves a tiny bit of FPS, and I haven't got the best system in the world. So I want to try and save as much as I can. And if we head to the middle panel, we're going to turn the ECAM brightness up just a bit. There we go. And that is pretty much it for setting everything up in terms of like startup procedure, in terms of the getting the plane ready for startup, shall we say. So now let's get the plane set up for navigation. So the first thing we want to do is turn the fly pad on. And we're going to hit the SimBrief button. So if you don't know, the A32NX mod actually uses SimBrief like as an integral part of the plane. You will need a SimBrief plan. Most people use SimBrief nowadays anyway, to be able to use this. So there will be I'll put a description in the description. I'll put a little link in for SimBrief, so you know where to go. So this is quite interesting because if you click this, it loads your fly up. It tells you how long it's going to be, like just over an hour, and then gives you some of the details about our alternate route, our average winds, our cost index, our cruise level, which is quite interesting, quite nice. And on the right hand side here, we've got our weather. So at the moment it's quite low pressure because obviously you can see this massive bit of wind and weather all over here, over the eastern part of the United Kingdom and into Europe. And there's more creeping in, which I think there's going to be some snow clouds in there later on, which isn't going to be great. And you see the temperature is 6 degrees. So we are kind of on the verge of anti-ice, but I don't think we'll need it for now. Well, I'll put it on anyway, but just to be sure, but I think we'll be okay. So let's go to the dispatch panel, and this basically tells you some information about the plane. The OFP is where your SimBrief is saved. So what I have on my screen over here, as you can see, is on that screen, but just a little bit different. They've kind of removed a lot of the FLAC stuff, which is quite nice. Bear with me, I'm just going to put this back in the right place. There we go. Okay, so here we say it says our fuel and our block fuel, which is the total fuel we need, is 4.73. So in the fuel box here, we're going to put 4.73. So I'm going to put 4.8 because SimBrief will automatically set it all up anyway. So let's go and instant refuel. I'm not going to do real or fast because I just want to get going. You can put it onto real or fast if you want. Also, there are options to change the boarding times. I've got boarding on fast, so and instant align times because I just want to get going. So let's turn off that for now. We don't need this anymore for a while. Let's head to the FMC. So click ATSI. That will load up the data link. And then click AOC, and then go to init press, and then press init data request. And what that will do will give you all the details of the flight from SimBrief. So you can see our flight number. I always use 721 because 721 was the number that my brother gave to me when I randomly asked him for a number. So I just use that every time now. And then we've got our destination and our departure, the fuel on board, and then our estimated time till we get there, which will be 42 minutes apparently, according to this, which is probably about right. It's going to take us a little while to get off the ground first, and then probably 42 minutes going down. So go back to the AOC menu and then to weigh and balance, and then request, and that will give you all the payload details, and then press start boarding, and the passengers will start boarding. It's vital you do this because although you may not want to like simulate having passengers, it uploads the payload on the plane. If you don't do it, you'll just fly with no payload, and your plane would just like rocket off into the air, and won't be easy to land either. So you want to do that. So then next up, we want to do a weather request. Sometimes this fills it in, sometimes it doesn't. I think this is a bit random. So we just want to put in our airport location. So we're going from Heathrow, which is EGLL, to Charles de Gaulle, which is LFPG. So LFPG. And then we hit send. And what that does is it queues up a message. And if we look up here, it will say company message here any minute now. There we go. Takes a little while. And then if we go back to the OC menu, enter received messages, there it is. And then you can review it on the screen, or you can just press print. And what print does is it actually prints it out, which I think is a really cool feature, not gonna lie. And then it's a bit bright here at the moment because of the way the sun is, but if you zoom right in, you can see our meter for Heathrow and the same for Charles de Gaulle. So we need all that information in a minute, so we'll come back to that. So let's go back to where we were. So we've done everything on the screen for now. Let's go to init, and then press init request. And that's going to fill in our flight information, just like on the other screen. And it's going to give us, like, type in the cost index and the cruise level and so on and so on. And that's all good. And then the next page, you'll see that they have a zero fuel weight, which we need to enter. So click this button once and it will automatically fill it in. You can always check it. I think SimBrief can be sometimes a bit weird with this because it says my zero fuel weight is 63.7. So that's a little bit off. So we'll change this. I think it calculates based on who's on board already. There you go, 63.7. And then our block fuel was 5.8. I believe. Like 4.8, sorry. There we go. And that'll fill all the fuel predictions in, which is nice because then it does it all for you and calculates everything because it's in the air. Next up, we go to the flight plan page. And now we have to enter the rest of the flight plan. It enters in the waypoints, but it doesn't enter in the SIDs and stars, which is a bit of a pain. So for the SID, we click on EGLL, press departure. We're going to be taking off 9 left, as we've spoken about. And we're going to be going from the, let me just make sure I get the right one. Helps if I clicked off the screen. I might have stopped me from. Okay. We're going to be going from the mod me 1K. So let's find mod me 1K. And then that should load in eventually. There we go. Press insert. And then just make sure there's no discontinuities. There always is, as there should be. And then we go finally to our destination and then to arrival. And we're going to be arriving, I believe, also into 9. But we're going to be going into 9 right. And we're going to be doing the BBA AX9. I'm sure I just saw that actually. And that is 9 Papa, which isn't actually here. Let me just make sure I got this right. EBA 9 Delta or 9 Echo from 9 right. Hang on. I've definitely got 9 Papa on here, so I don't know why it's. Oh, because that's an RNAV. I see. Okay. Well, let's go with 9 Echo, and we'll see. Let me just see what 9 Echo is on the Navigraph. Let's look. So we want to be going on the chart list to BBA. So we've got 9 Delta, 9 Echo, 9 Victor, 9 Whiskey, and then 9 Papa, which is the RNAV, which is the one we had planned. So I think if we go to 9 Echo, which is what we're just doing now, it's a very similar, but we do a TME arc to the airport rather than like flying in like this. So I think that's fine. We're just doing 9 Echo. So let me pin that instead of that one. Cool. And then it's asking if there's a VIA. Hardy is the last transition before that, and there's no Hardy in there, so we'll just go with that. We can always check this as well because I think there's going to be some issues here, but we'll try our best to get it right. So we go to plan, and then you can see that plan now shows you where we're going. Let me zoom it out a little bit. So we're going from the airport, following the SID, all the way out to mid. and then mid we're going to follow the Hardy. So only a couple of waypoints, and then we're on the arrival. And there's B's backs, Colive, Mopar, which is where the last section for the runway is. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit more because I just want to see that properly. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So instead of us going from the Colive bit, instead of us going from Bieber round here to Mopar, we're going direct to Colive first. And I think we're supposed to be doing a GME arc, but the system's never going to work that out. Microsoft Flight Simulator, like autopilot and navigation, is terrible right now. But that'll do fine. That'll do fine. So now we know that's all good. We'll just leave that for now. And we'll go back to arc mode. Cool. And then we'll come back down again. So we're happy with the flight plan. Let's go to perf. Now we need to work out our takeoff details for the runway. Now I do have a specific program I downloaded that tells me the calculations, which you should see on the screen now. So what this does is you type in some details here and then press calculate, and it gives you your thrust setting, which is this bit here, which is your flex temperature. Now I think most people with icon streams and things, I think they just guess, but I like to be a little bit realistic. So let's see how it goes. So aircraft type, we're an A320. The runway length here is 9 left is 3,900 meters. So it's a pretty long runway. So it's even nearest to the bottom, like almost to the bottom. Elevation is less than 1,000 because we're in the UK. It's never ever going to be more than 1,000. Wind component. So the wind today, as we can see on our chart, was 180 or 180 degrees at 7 knots. So if we go back to here, 180 degrees from the runway is pretty crosswindy, to be honest. So we're going at 90, so 180 is about 90 degrees away. So we're going to be hit with a crosswind. It might even, yeah, it's going to be a crosswind, but we'll go headwind because it doesn't really calculate the crosswind properly, like either head or tail. But it's a headwind as such. And then the outside temperature is going to be 6 degrees. And the QNH, we have it down as 986. So it's pretty low. So less than 998. And our takeoff weight on SimBrief is 68246. So let's type that in. And our flap setting is going to be 1. So we put anti-ice on. I'm going to do engine only. And then a dry runway. I think it would be a little bit damp today. But I don't think it's going to be damp. Well, let's put wet anyway. We'll be safe. We'll be safe. So we'll calculate, and then it gives you our thrust settings and our VR speeds. Our V speeds even. So we can enter them into the sim. So first of all, we want to enter our flaps. So we go 1/up1. Our flex temp was 53. So flex temp basically is it's a simulated temperature on the engine to protect the engine life. So you'll see when the engines start up, it'll give you what the actual percentage of the engine it will use. And I think it'll be between 70 and 80% usually. So it saves the engine, but pretends that it's a lot hotter. So it gives you like a better lift. It's hard to explain. I don't really fully know it, to be fair. Transition altitude in the UK is 6,000, and the V speeds are 148, 153, 154. So 148, 153, 154. All right. So that's everything we need to do right now for the FMC. So let's go and sort something else out. So let's go to the top. The fuel's on board now, so let's activate the fuel pumps. Hit the beacon light on because we're about to turn an engine on. And then let's open the APU panel. Here we go. We're waiting for door open to appear. Or flap open, should we say? And then we hit the start. And then what we have, it should start spooling up now. What should happen is when these go green, we'll be ready to go. So let's head outside, see if we can hear it starting up. Look at that. Lovely. So that's starting up nicely. Let's get rid of the all the baggage and stuff because we don't want them to get hit. Close all our doors as well. Alright. So we're just waiting for that to spool up and these all go green. And they'll say available. There we go. And now we can hit APU bleed. And that's now transferred all the power to the APU rather than the external power. So we can now turn the external power off. And the plane should stay alive, which it has. Awesome. So we're just waiting for the cabin door to close. I think that's closing. There we go. Cool. So all the doors are closed. The engine started, or the APU engine has started, should we say. Everything else looks good. I think we're ready to push back. It really isn't too difficult to set up. I mean, the plane is relatively easy to use. I'm going to say that in a I don't know what the word is, air quotes way, easy to use, but like it's been designed so that it's quite quick to set up and go. Alright, so all good, all good. Right, let's get a pushback going. So let's call for the pushback. It's going to start talking to us, so I will try and be quiet.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Alright, so they're just connecting now. So what we're going to do is we're going to push back. We're going to turn and face north. And then we're going to head down taxiway C, then taxiway B, and then head on to the links, which are going to then do right to the top of the runway. It's quite a quick taxi. Shouldn't take us too long. And then we're ready to go. So in terms of this flight, we're going to do the whole flight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a bit of it. Once we get to cruise, I'm going to do a bit of a cinematic.
The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of a scenic thing when we get to cruise. So we're just going to sit and chill.
Standing by for pushback.
Okay, so we're ready to go. So we're just going to sit and chill, and then we're going to have like some music playing over the top. And I'm just going to run the whole thing. There's going to be no cuts. I like it that way. That's why my channel's called Sour Long Plays after all. So let's go. So first things first, I actually forgot to do is set the QNH. So the QNH was 986. So let's do that. Really low today. There we go. And it will automatically update these, but it won't do the standby. So just make sure you do that too. There we go. Alright, let's go.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brake set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Alright, so we're moving now. So let's start engine number 2. Let's go outside and have a look. What's that one? Let's get it started up, see what happens. It's got a bit of a delay on these engines on the sim. I'm not sure why. they don't move for a little while, but then they kick in, as you can see. There we go. Beautiful. Alright. Let me just make sure we get ourselves pushed back correctly. I don't want to miss the turning. That'll be the worst. So we want to head, so we're not facing this way, we want to face the other way. So we want to turn ourselves to the right at the same time. So should we get a good engine start now? Now you can see here it says flex 53, so we're at 76%. 78%, sorry. Alright, so that's engine number 2. Looks like it's fully fired up. So let's hit engine number 1. You can hear the barking away. Okay. Beautiful.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
So set the parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
There we go.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear to disconnect.
Still getting used to the camera views in this. X-plane camera views are a lot easier.
For the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
There we go. Both engines are started up nicely. So we should, once both engines are started up nicely, see an veil here, which will tell us that the engines are ready to be powered up. Let me just wait for the temperature to rise a little bit. There we go, a veil is that. So we're going to go up to the top and we're just going to turn the AP bleed off, turn off the master switch. And we're all good there. And while we're up here, let's turn on the too much. Bit of a fiddly button. Let's just turn on the taxi lights, turn on the runway, turn off lights. Everything else is looking good. Let's head back down. You see we've got our APU still available. It will take a little while, but we're looking all good there. So let's do our control check. Very simply. Hang on, that's my fault. I forgot to disable something. Sorry. My apologies. You're getting to see all my controls. I forgot to disable throttle on my joystick. Okay, let's just make sure that's set back to normal. Okay, so we just clear this. There we go. And then clear again. There we go. Alright, so that's what can happen if you press the wrong button when you are getting yourself ready. So let's go back to F controls and we'll do the flight control check. So full left, full right, full back, full forward, and then rudder, full left, and full right. Awesome. So that's all good. So once that's done, we can clear that. And it automatically will come up here with the takeoff checklist that we need to do at some point. So next things first is we need to arm the spoilers, put the flaps to 1, which will be able to see outside, I'm hoping. There you go, the slats are coming out. It's kind of cool really, isn't it? All the slats coming out. So that's good. And then we just got our takeoff config, our brakes to max. And then hit the takeoff config button, and that should go to normal. And then just cabin check, which we'll do just as we're about to take off. So let's get ourselves taxiing. So as I said, we're just going to head straight north, and then we're going to turn left down taxiway B, and then we're going to head out. So let's get ourselves, oh, before I forget, let's put ourselves onto 25,000 feet. That's what we're clear to. There is no ATC. Because there's no ATC, we don't need to worry about any constraints. So let's put a little bit of power in. Starts moving along. The power, you can leave it in idle and it will just roll. It's one of the cool things about this plane as well. So good test as always when you are taxiing is to check the brakes work, because if they don't work you're not coming back. So it's good chance to make sure you do that first, and then we're just gonna taxi ourselves along. So there are a couple of constraints in terms of like the flight plan. Like over London you can only go a maximum of 250 knots until 10,000 feet as normal, and there is a constraint of 6,000 feet until you get past London as well, which is fine. Okay, so let's stroll ourselves down here. Lovely stuff. So we're just following taxiway B now, right to the end. And one of the reasons why I like playing Flight Simulator so much as well, it's just so chill. Like, I just love being chill, flying planes, and just enjoying like a life that I could have had. No, it's something that I've always loved with planes. So it's nice that I can actually fly them without having to actually fly them. You know, without having to pay all that money to learn and to get a job, which is quite a lot. So here we come up to link now. So we're on link 56. And we're just going to go past link 57 and then we're there. So this is terminal 5 on the left. So this isn't very good scenery for Heathrow. I'm not going to lie. Right. I think there must be a payware scenery out by now for it. But I'm not willing to put money into it just yet. Alright, so we're gonna pop into the to the box, and we're gonna hold short, and we're just gonna make sure we're all prepared before we get onto the runway. So let's just start ourselves right down. Alright, let's hold in the brake for a sec while I set the parking brake. I have the parking brake map, but it doesn't seem to stick for some reason, which isn't right. Okay, so we're gonna set this back to start, so we don't remember not to do that. So let's check. So lights, let's get our lights on. So runway turnoffs are on. Landing lights are on. Nose light to takeoff. And then wing light is on. Seatbelts are on. Spoken signs are on. All is good. We're going to put our engine anti-ices on. And our probe heats on just for the initial takeoff. Just because I don't want it to. I don't want to have any problems. Oops, just switched the engine bleed on by accident. So that's looking good. That's looking good. Flight directors are on. QNH is set. All the MCP is set. Max auto brake and runway turn off. Looks like we're all good. So let's ding the cabin. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
There we go. And let's get going. So the parking brake works when I do it to turn it off, but to turn it back on again doesn't work. Right, so let's get onto the runway. Let's set the chrono for the flight, and then the chrono here so we can see it at the bottom. Alright, so when we're ready, straighten ourselves up with the runway. We have to go past the threshold first, so we can't start our takeoff run until we get to the threshold. because there's an uneven surface here. But once we're on the threshold, we can start to bomb it. So I'm going to quickly look down just to make sure I've set the right power, because this is a bit fiddly. There we go. Forward on the column. So we hold the column down just to make sure the plane doesn't start to lift before we want it to. And then once we hit 100 knots, we let go again, so we're ready to take off. And then once we hit our V speeds, we'll start to lift. The plane can be a little bit temperamental on takeoffs, especially because then we have a crosswind. So let's go. Yeah, look at that crosswind pulling us already. Nice. Gear goes up. And then we just follow the flight directors. You can see London directly in front of us, which is an amazing view. And we're going to turn as we take off so we don't go over London. And hopefully my sim doesn't crash. So at the moment I'm flying the plane and I'm controlling the aircraft. Apart from the speed is being controlled by the aircraft. And the weather is loading in as we're flying, which is annoying. So I'm just following the directors, nice and simple. And then once we get to 2,000 feet, it will ask us to go to climb mode, which it will. So we just drop the lever until we get to climb mode. There it is. Oh, it's getting a bit bumpy out here. And then the speed should start to build, and then once we reach 200 knots, we'll lift the flaps up. We can disarm the spoiler now. Now we get a lovely view of the country as we go along. Look at that. Beautiful. And now we're at flat retraction speed, so let's bring the flaps in. Perfect. Alright. So let's just enjoy a little bit of the scenery for now, before we have to go on to Autopilot. I like to kind of fly it for a little bit just to enjoy it, because I do fly planes in real life. I only fly GA planes, but I do like to do it. So we're a little bit off center here. And the beauty of the A320 as well is there's fly-by-wire. So you don't need to fly with like a finger, to be honest. It's like GA plane, which is amazing considering the plane weighs like 55 times the GA plane. It's lovely. Alright, so I think it's probably time that we've set it on to Autopilot now. And let it do its thing. So the plane is pretty good when it comes to the Autopilot. It's getting better every day, but it does have its own quirks and stuff, so you do need to be there at all times just in case. Because I remember I did a flight the other day where I flew over the Alps and all the turbulence of the Alps caused the Autopilot to disconnect and the plane started to like dive bomb to the ground. So you always need to be careful. Right, so while it's doing that, let's get some outside views. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, it's not supposed to do that. Amazing. I'm really, really impressed by Microsoft Flight Simulator's like scenery, especially in the European countries such as like, there have been world updates. So England, France, Germany, Scandinavia, and the Low Countries. And then obviously North America as well, and Japan. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the next world update. But for today, we're just going to do our little fly across England to France. And we can look at glorious parts of England as we go along. I'm not entirely sure what this area is of the country, to be honest. I should be giving you a tour, really, shouldn't I? Oh, it's Guildford. Okay. So this area is Surrey. It's It's a really, really beautiful place. Like that whole like area just south of London is really nice. So if you ever do go to England and you want to go and visit some nice places, go to like Guildford, Woking, that sort of area. There's not exactly a lot to do there, but you're not far from London. And there's like Epsom, which is on the other side of the plain. If we go to that side, that's Epsom over there. That's where they have the big Epsom Derby horse racing. As you can see, it's quite a lovely little beautiful area. So yeah, definitely go check it out if you're ever in England. Now you can see the ground like forming as I turn the camera. Look, brilliant. So we're literally just flying. We've just gone past the 6,000 limit, so we should start to accelerate now. Any second now. Don't know, but we need to go to standard pressure. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't try and descend us now, because that'd be annoying. So it's actually sitting on the restriction until we get to mid, which is actually surprising. But that's fine. That's fine with me. So we'll carry on. We're just going to fly this. We're going to head up over towards the south coast, which is coming up quite soon. We've got Portsmouth in the distance over here. So it won't be long before we arrive. So we might as well check out some more views while we're doing this. Let's have a look at some other views as well. Out the window. Look at that. Imagine sitting there. It's a cracking view. Look at the wing flex. Beautiful. I'm never sure what I like the most. Oh, there's an airfield there. Not that one. That's quite an interesting view. The wing flexing. Quite loud though. I'm just going through the views now. A little check while we're waiting. Alright. I prefer the inside sound, to be fair. It's nice and peaceful. So, we're heading up to mid now. So we're just approaching mid. So hopefully we should turn left if the AP or the autopilot is working okay. And then we should start to accelerate and to climb up to 25,000 feet. Okay, I think I needed to give it a bit of a jolt. Probably another bug within the plane, to be honest. But we're now jumping up. Alright, so not too far to go now till we get to the channel. Doesn't take long. UK isn't very big. Once we're at the channel, then we're going to hit our top of climb, 25,000 feet. And then once we get to the other side, then we'll start our descent. So it's a pretty short flight. One thing obviously to check out is once you get to 10,000 feet, you turn all your lights off. And once you come back down to 10,000 feet, you turn all your lights back on. And once we get to 10,000 feet, the plane will start to accelerate because it will be getting, there we go. It's now gone past the restriction. So let's turn the lights off. Let's get the anti-ice off. The window heats. There we go. You can see we're at 10,000, but the plane is started slowing down, so not slowing down, started dipping lower and lower to keep the speed until we get to that 290. And then we will start to accelerate again. There we go, up to 20,000 feet a second a minute. Well, she was a second. And there we go, up to, let's see, the plane loves to climb. And I don't know if this is what real life the plane would be like flying, I feel like that would be pretty uncomfortable to try flying nearly 4,000 feet a minute, but who am I to know? So let's head up and up and up and up we go. Now, top of climb will be just as we hit the channel, and then we'll be on cruise over the channel, which is when I will take my like 5-minute break, and then you can just have some music in the background and enjoy the views. Alright, so we are now coming up to the channel now, as you can see out your window. So let's quickly drop out. I'm trying to think what the best view for this is. I'd probably say that's a nice view. There you go, there's Portsmouth down there on the right. And just by the clouds over here, that's Portsmouth. And some good views down there. You see how the exhaust from the jet is making it a bit distorted. Yeah, it's a good view. And like Southwark down there. And Shoreham. That's Shoreham, that is. Oh, wow. So that's Brighton. Yeah. There's Brighton there. So these are all quite big cities on the south coast of England, which is quite good to see. Alright, so we're up to 17,000 feet. Still climbing. Upper climb is due to be any second now, really. We're a little bit behind because of the plane not playing ball. Stunning clouds though. I do love the clouds in this game. Very, very, very nice. Probably killing my frames at the same time, but meh. Alright, so at 20,000 feet. There we go. So you can see we're just about to start turning left at Bognor. So we're now fully over the channel, and there's a big bit of cloud right in front of us, as you can see, but we're going to go over the top of it. Hopefully we shouldn't get too much turbulence over the top of it, but you never know. Okay, so now we're pretty much coming up to the top of climb. So I'm going to preemptively switch to seatbelts off and hope that there's no turbulence, because we don't want everybody to feel ill. And then I'm going to set it to a nice view, and we're going to sit and we're going to enjoy the views. I don't know that one. Yeah, let's do that one. I'll turn the sound of the sim down a bit, and then we'll hit some music on. Let's listen to some. There we go. Alright guys, so I'm going to go for a few minutes. So enjoy the views. I'll switch the views as we go along, and enjoy the music. Hello, welcome back. So, we are pretty much getting ready to do our arrival now. As you can see, we're kind of going through the clouds. I'm a little bit worried about icing and stuff. So I'm just going to quickly smash the icing on again. Just to make sure we don't have any issues. Should be okay though. So, our arrival is literally going to start in a few miles. We're going, once we get to Bivax, we're on our arrival. Top of descent is about here. So we need to start planning. So if we come down to our FMC, it says enter destination data, because even it knows that we're coming up close. So we need to run a new meta now. So if we go back to our Atsuna menu, to our AOC menu, and to our weather request, and then press send. See, it's filled it all in now, even now we've turned it. So let's cue that in quickly. You can see we're making a nice little turn. What are we doing here? Well, I think we're alright. So let's go to our receive messages and then our new one. And then print that. Alright, so our new... Okay, that's weird. Got a really weird delay going on with that. That doesn't normally happen like that. Anyway, now we're on our arrival. We need to quickly do this. So let's get back to our perf page. Next phase. QNH at LFPG is 994. The temperature in France right now, I believe, is... spare me 1 second. I believe it's about 6 degrees. We are going a little bit off course. Don't worry. We should be fine. I'm just looking at the screen on the other side. The wind is 19 knots at 170, so it's pretty windy. But it's nothing the plane can't handle. And transition hours 106,000. Our barometric pressure is going to be... let's have a look. Just bear with me 2 seconds. It's going to be 571 is our minimums on the Barry. And we're going to go full flaps. So that's all in. So we can go back to our perf page. Alright, what's happening over here then? We're getting a pretty... We've got a 96 mile an hour crosswind right now coming across us. So it's going to be a little bit slower coming in. But we're still on... I've just checked the map. We are actually following the arrival, so we're still fine. So we've just come across top of the sensor, smashed the descent down now. So it's going to get down to about 3,000 feet. And we're just going to smash it in. And we're going to go up to the top and turn seatbelt signs on. And the plane should now start to dive. Now, another problem with the A32NX mod is that it's not quite... It's not the mod, I don't think. I think it's more just the sim in general. It can't quite work out sense properly. As you can see, it's having some issues. With descending, so we're going to have to try and help it. So let's go 2,500 feet. I think it's not helping that the wind is so strong that it's getting a bit confused, but we'll control it. Now, it's telling us to go at 250 knots because we're on the arrival. But it's not really viable because we're a bit high. And we want to try and get down as quick as we can. Look at that view. Oh my God. So good. So let's keep pushing it down as quick as we can. I'm going to take over the speed and I'm going to bump it up to 390. There we go. I've got control of speed now. So the plane will allow itself it'll allow itself to pick up speed when it wants. It won't try and fight me. So that's good. So we're just gonna let it come down. We did blow past top of descent slightly, but it's fine. We should be okay. We're just gonna be coming through a lot of cloud as we come under, so we've turned the anti-ice off for now, but when we start going back through the cloud again, we'll turn it straight back on. So let's keep it going. If the plane does start to run away from you, one of the things you can do, like see, it's just gone over 290 now, but if it starts to go over 300, you can hit the speed brakes. They are your friend. You can release them at any time. They don't fly off if you go too fast, so don't panic. They are pretty strong. All right, so below 20,000 now. We'll be able to lose quite a lot of speed before we get to the landing anyway, so I'm not too worried about the speed. But we do want to kind of be 250 knots at co-live, between flight level 10,000 and 11,000, 11 and 10. I think we're going to make that, so it should be okay. Hopefully you're just enjoying the view out the window. It's quite nice. So we're 18,000 now, so we're all doing all right. Don't forget as well, once we get to 10,000, we have to turn the lights on. And this is prepared for landing as well, so we're going to go medium on the auto brake. And we're going to set some stuff up for the speed brakes and stuff, but not yet. 17,000 feet coming down. Co-live is 15 miles away. At the moment, this is a bit of a chore. In the real plane, you'd have it on VNav and it would just do the whole thing for you. You just need to know when the descent time is. You kind of have to work the descent stuff out yourself. There is a descent planner on the pad, but I'm using Sim Toolkit Pro to help me out, so I don't have to sit and try and work it out. but you can easily work it out. And then the plane should just do the job for you. If you go onto like X-Plane, for example, it will pick the all the details up for you pretty easy. And like, for example, the A310, the A320, the tallest and stuff like that is really good. But on Flight Simulator, they're not quite there yet, but they're getting there. VNAV is better than it was. I can tell you that. I remember the VNAV used to just fly you in the opposite direction of the runway at one stage, which was interesting. But we're getting down. We're at 14,000 now, 8 miles away. Looks like we're going to hit this fine. Needs to be at 10,000 for this. So no problem at all. And we're coming out of the big heavy layer of rain clouds. We're about to go into the snow clouds. You can see that massive towering cloud over there. That's amazing. Alright, 12,000 feet. We're a little bit quick. But at the moment we're okay. Yeah, we've hit Colive. We're a little bit high, but that's fine. Mopar is 8,000 to 10,000, so we're still on it. So for the localizer, what glide scope we want to pick 4,000 is the glide scope. So let's push that up to 4,000. Okay. All right. So here we go. We're going to go into the clouds. So let's get the icing on. All good. Just thinking, do I need to put the lights on now? Yep, probably a good idea. Oh. Let's get the lights on. There we go. Look at this coming in. Amazing. Okay. Between 8 and 10 now, so we could probably slow down the descent slightly. So we're going to need to start slowing ourselves down a little bit. Let's get a bit of speed brake in. Should be able to hear that. We're going to get pushed along in this section, so it's going to be pretty quick, this last bit. There we go, into the clouds. Let's start bringing the speed down now. This is pretty cool. The bit where we go into the clouds is really cool. There we go. Plane does turn a little late, but it's fine. Okay, 7,000 feet. Going down to 250 now. We're going to get some big turbulence coming in here. Okay, it's like in a sheer wall. So that's a snow cloud, this. We're just flying into right now. It's a massive snow cloud. Oh man. I should start seeing some like rain and stuff on the window maybe. Here we go. Oof, in. Okay, switch to the new barometric pressure, which was 993. Okay. We're now at 4,000 feet, so we no longer need to QFE. So we no longer need to do any more descending now. We're just going to stick here until approach, which is when we take our left turn here. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. When we take our left turn here, then we will hit approach mode, and then we'll start our final descent. So we're going to activate approach. There we go. All the approach details are now in. So everything looks good. Landing lights are on. All the anti-ice and stuff is on. So far, so good. Straight in the clouds. Wonder what this looks like from outside. Can't see anything. Imagine being in that plane right now, like, where am I? Surprised there's no rain on this. There are rain effects in the, and I know this is a snow cloud, so there should be snow and stuff on the windows. So I'm a bit surprised there isn't. But we are coming up to our turn. Coming out of the clouds, coming back in again. I don't know if you can tell, but this is quite exciting for me. Just hoping I can land it properly. There's Paris underneath. Alright. Almost time for approach mode. Oh. Big stutter there. My apologies. It's loading in scenery for Paris, I'm guessing. It's going to keep doing it. As we come in, you can see that just through the clouds, little glimpses of the sea as we come in. Alright, I think it's time to hit approach mode. So, glide scope and localizer is armed. Landing system is on. And this landing system as well, which I need to turn on. I can't quite reach it. There we go. Alright, so the plane should hopefully catch the localizer any second now. As we come into Paris. There we go, localizer's captured. So now we can start pulling our speed back even more. To 220 knots. Oh, turbulence. Alright, so we get our first level of flaps out. On the speed brake. Oh, speed brake's still out. Oops. Speed brakes. Glide scope's captured. Alright, let's get the gear out. Lower the speed even more. Go to slats. Flap 2. Come on, come down with me. Having some speed problems because of the turbulence. It should come down with it though. We might even need to do a full landing here. I'm just going to put auto land ready just in case. I can't see the runway. Slow down even more. Down to our final approach. plane's struggling. Some heavy turbulence here. Come on, plane. I can't see anything. I think this is going to be an autoland, I'm afraid. All flaps. They're coming in pretty quick. We're having a lot of speed issues because of the weather. We have got a bit of a crosswind. This shouldn't be an issue. We should get down to that speed before the runway appears. As you can see, I can see the runway just. I don't know if you can see it on your screen yet. I can just see it, but there's no way I can land this from here. Minimums isn't. We're not quite minimums yet, but no, I could land it from here actually. Let's do it. Let's do the cabin check.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Right, here we go. Oh yeah.
$500. $400.
Here we go.
100 above.
Minimums is gone, so we're going to continue here.
Minimum
There's the minimum.
200.
A little bit low. Should be fine.
$100.
Gonna have to decrab at the end here.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Oh, big decrab. Get the reverses out. Alright, auto brakes off. Just let it roll out. Lovely. So that landing was a 180. But I was getting a bit push, as you probably could tell. When we landed, we didn't land exactly like how I wanted it to be. But we'll leave the runway here. Clean up the flaps. And take the spoilers out. And we are here. So, parking at Charles de Gaulle. Good point. We'll follow this down here. And then take a right turn, and then the terminal is beside us on the right here. Oh, we have still on reverses. That might help. Oh, big bump. Alright, let's take a little right turn here. Try not to stop. So that was a little bit of a rough landing coming into Charles de Gaulle. But it was actually not too bad, 180. I'm happy with that. Obviously, let me know in the comments what you think as well. Whether you think you could have done better. I'm sure you probably could have. Let's go down here. Come on. Done. Yeah, I mean, if you could do better than that, yeah, just let me know. I mean, I wasn't the best. Definitely not a butter of landings, and more of like a professional pilot. Let's see. Let's find a parking space. So yeah, so this is how we do it. This is Charles de Gaulle. This is the start of our series. Let's get these lights off now. where we're just going to fly from capital to capital, and we're going to just go to all the places in the world that we can think of. And I'll just have a good time doing it. Obviously looking at the beautiful weather as well. Like, that was some crazy weather today. Let's park up here. See the rain effects now, actually. Right, so let's get the parking brake on. Right, first things first we want to do is get the APU started up. We can get the anti-ice off now. And here we are. We are here in Charles de Gaulle. An interesting flight. Nice and calm till we got to the landing. But that is how life is. So flaps open. Let's get the APU started up. And we'll get the APU bleed on anyway. Cool. Let's get the taxi lights off. That's looking good. See where the sign can come off. Cool. Alright, so I'm just going to turn the engines off now. The APU should pick up before it turns off. No, oh, okay, well. Well, the APU was supposed to get that before it turned off, but that's fine. Alright, cool. Oh no, it's come back on. There we go. Come on, Pushback, where are you? Okay. Pushback plugin isn't working, so we'll just... Oh, here we go. There it is. In all its glory. It's kind of a cool look. This little like section from the terminal. So anyway, that's going to be it for me. Just kind of messing around at the end. But that's the end of my video for the first episode of our flight around the world, I guess. So if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more of it, please make sure to leave a like. Be really appreciated. And if you did really enjoy it and you want to be notified when the next video goes live, please make sure to leave a subscribe. Subscribing to my channel means way more than anything you can think of to me. It'll be nice, and hopefully my first subscriber will be soon. So I'm looking for my first goal of being 10 subscribers. That'd be quite nice. It'd be nice to have 10, knowing that 10 people actually enjoy my videos will be quite nice as well. So next flight we're going to be flying from Paris, and we're going to be flying to Belgium. Now the flight I know is going to be pretty short, so we might be doing that in a GA plane, but I will have a look and work it all out. So please tune in for that. Hopefully the weather will be a little bit better than it is today. So thank you very much for watching. I'll leave you to it now. So thanks again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.